So, Phil, couple of days, weeks on since Paris. How has life been since your feet have touched the ground?
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic now since we're back. Like it's been non-stop, and I suppose it's been great to come back as well. Not gonna lie, the come down is real. Like there's been days like the tiredness is has definitely hit. And I suppose when you're constantly going all the time and then you stop and the Olympics is now over, is something that you've been chasing for 3 years and now it's done. So like there's definitely been a mixture of emotions, but I think everybody is suffering from a little post-Olympic blues with all the coverage and now that it's gone. But yeah, it's been a wild few days. But what a time in Paris. Like to come forth like was just crazy. Crazy.
Like you talk about those post-Olympic blues, but we have to go back to Ballineen on Thursday night, where the Queen of Ballineen was crowned. She was spotted driving, being paraded through the villages in a Rolls-Royce convertible. Talk to me about that homecoming. How special was that?
Oh, it was crazy. Like the crowds that actually came out and like number one, I didn't know what in like was in store for any of it. I just had to be at the co-op at a certain time. And then I saw the car rock up and I was like, oh my God, I actually have to go into this. But I was in my element after a while parading through the street. But Jesus God help anybody that got caught behind us in traffic because by the time we went through the village, like we took half the day stopping with all the people and stuff. But no, it was so great to see so many people turn out, so many kids excited. Like people had traveled from around the place as well. Like it wasn't just local people. So like that was bonkers to see that people actually made the effort to come down and they brought their kids and stuff like that. And it was great to show off the silver medal, I suppose, from Europeans as well. And then when we landed into the in a skiing, like in St. Mary's GA Club, but down in the skiing, like the crowds was crazy. Like when we actually went on stage and stuff like that and signing all the autographs and stuff for the kids, like it was a mad few hours. Yeah. But like coming home see our homecoming Dublin is one thing, and like we were blown away with the crowd there, and something that we totally didn't expect because we were like, geez, a homecoming at lunchtime on a Monday, people actually have work to go to, and there was 25,000 people plus there, and but then home West Cork is a different thing, and like just seeing the excitement on people's faces, and I suppose when I have been away for so long to actually, I suppose, feel it and like see the excitement of the local people, that was definitely a lot more special, and yeah, it was great to see.
It probably makes it so much more real as well because you're back amongst people that you know that you've grown up with. I know you said you worked in the centre and in the scheme, like you've grown up. This is the area you've grown up in, and to see all those familiar faces to kind of turn out to kind of supposed to tell everyone to tell you how proud they are of what you've done, like representing this area on the world stage. That probably means a lot too.
Oh, absolutely. And like there's so many faces, definitely from my Sintra days that I would know along the street and know people by name, like and like yeah, no, it's great. And I've had so much local support in terms of the people and in terms of companies and different things like that. So like no, it's great to be back home and see the people face to face. And I suppose we had been away in our own bubble for so long. So then we can feel the certain amount of support when you're away, but when you actually come home and you see it in front of you, like it's on a different level.
We're now kind of what are we now 8, 9, 10 days on from that Olympic final. Have you watched it back yet? What's your sense of the whole of how it played out?
No, I haven't watched it back, and I suppose like for us coming forth was crazy, and I suppose being so close to a medal, like it was definitely bittersweet, and I suppose yeah, our interview on RT was a bit emotional and raw, but I suppose that's the reality of it too, and it's so important to share because you obviously have this was a 3 year cycle and so much hard work and dedication goes into it. And when you're just that close to an Olympic medal, like Olympics is a whole different ball game to like a World Championships or a European Championships, and it's a whole other bigger scale. So like obviously, yeah, it was a little disappointing, but I suppose we didn't expect to come forth. Like we had a relay meeting earlier that day and we were saying top six and a new national record. Like to take 3 seconds off that national record was crazy. I actually got a memory on Instagram today that 2 years ago today we broke the national record and it was 3:26 and the exact same four people, and now the record is 3:19. So like we've come a long way with that team, and it's so great to see. And like fourth, like the amount of people that have come fourth at an Olympic Games that are Irish is so minimal, and then fourth in athletics is on a whole other level with the amount of nations that you compete in, and it's such a tough sport. But yeah, fourth was it was crazy.
When you say you haven't watched it back yet, why is that? Any particular reason?
No, not any particular reason. Like I've seen clips of it here and there. I've seen that interview a million times because it seems to surface everywhere. But no, I've never just got the time, or I suppose, to go back and look at it. I've seen the last leg, and I suppose how close we were to that medal, and like I've seen clips of it, but I actually haven't watched the full race back. But like everybody performed phenomenally. Like obviously it needed to take 3 seconds off the national record. Collectively, we had to come together and do something special, and we did that. And it's all about what happens on the day. Like an Olympic cycle is every 4 years. Obviously, this one was 3 years. So like there's so much riding on it for everything to go right on that one particular day because it's a long 4 years until the next one.
Like you say, kind of all came together to create something special, and you certainly did that Saturday night. Talk to me about your third leg, kind of when Rashida gave you the baton, Ireland were in second, and you did incredibly well, Phil, to keep Ireland in second when you passed it on to Charlene Maudsley. Could you feel the pressure coming down the home straight because they were all kind of trying to pass you? Like, but you held. Can you talk me through your own lap that day?
Yeah, absolutely. And even say the day before when I ran the heat, I ran the second leg and I also had the pressure there because you obviously need to make the break and you obviously need to keep the team in contention and put the team in the best possible position. But you also can't go out too fast because that day we were in the lead. So like you can't go out too fast and then end up being swallowed up in the home straight either. So it's the fine margins. But then come the final, I was on the third leg, which is where I always am when Rashid is brought into the team. And I suppose no matter what position you're in, it's pressure because Rashid is handing you the baton and you always know you're going to be in a good position when Rashid is giving you the baton. So I suppose ever before I got the baton, I knew the pressure that was in store to take up that leg and I suppose to keep the team in contention because there was world class athletes on that third leg. And I suppose again it's about not blowing it in the first 200, but also having enough in the last 200 as well. So yeah, I went out there, like the atmosphere was crazy, the noise literally just brings you home. And I suppose it was my fastest relay split ever. So to do that in an Olympic final, I suppose was special. I knew I was in PB shape, so to get that out and to do what I could deliver for the team, was great.
You mentioned there about the Stade de France. Talk to me about running in an atmosphere like that at packed stadium, because we've spoken before, Phil, about, let's say, the Tokyo Olympics was a totally different kind of games to what you experienced in Paris. How was that Saturday night like for the Olympic final?
It was crazy. Even the heat was on in the morning, and usually a morning session at any major championships, the crowds are like quarter full, and the evening sessions would be a lot busier, but packed out no matter what time of the day it was. So like 80,000 plus people for both rounds was sensational. And like when you walk out, the crowd was crazy. Like the noise, the amount of Irish flags, the roars when Ireland were introduced or when we came out introduced to television, like it was crazy. You can hear people shouting your name, you can see all the flags, the green, everything. Like it actually felt like we were at home. And I suppose it was special for the amount of Irish travelling supporters and to see that they went to effort for the Irish team. And I suppose that we could get back in that way. And it's the closest games we're going to have in a while. This is LA, then after that is Brisbane. So like Paris basically is at home and same time zone, all the same, like things are aligned, which was great for the sport as well. But yeah, that the support in that stadium was mental. The noise, the atmosphere just naturally lifts you. But when like each of the countries are introduced and Ireland 110% got the loudest roar.
And how much did you enjoy this Olympic experience?
Yeah, it was totally different, I suppose, to Tokyo, and there was elements where I preferred certain things in Tokyo compared to Paris and vice versa. But no, it was great. Like it was, yes, we didn't go to see other events again this time because athletics is at the end of the program, and I suppose you have to manage your nervous energy and different things like that. But you had a lot more mixing, like you were able to, I suppose, engage with a lot more sports in Team Ireland, which was super. We had like a chill out zone up at the top of our building. You could go there to watch the different events and you're mixing with other different sports. But like for me, it more than likely would be my last Olympics. So like it was great to experience that. It was great to have so much Irish support. It was great to just enjoy it, have that team element. I suppose there was less COVID restricted times. Yes, COVID was still rampant in the village, but it didn't keep you out of competition. But yeah, it was definitely a very different experience and very enjoyable compared to some aspects of Tokyo.
You mentioned there, Phil, that it could have been your last Olympics. You're still only 29, and it seemed Paris seemed to light a fire under you as well. Like, kind of you're in top form over. So have you given any thought to what the next couple of years look like?
No, and look, to be honest, I probably did consider retirement after this year. I just wasn't sure, like I hadn't a definite decision made, and I just wanted to enjoy the summer. And I suppose the decision will be made for you sometimes if you get that feeling. I suppose Paris has given me the hunger to definitely continue for another year. And like this relay team is capable of so much. Like next year we have European indoors, we have world indoors, we have world relays, and we have world championships. So there's so many major championships that we can be performing at. So it's a very exciting year ahead. But I suppose you have to take it year by year. Will be going on 33 come Paris. So, but you never know what is in store. Like as I said to you before on the last podcast, if you asked me last year, I didn't think I would be in Paris. So look, you just have to take it year by year, see how it all plays out.
Like you're back enjoying athletics again. Like you said, you ran your fastest ever split time in the pressure of an Olympic final. So kind of all the signs are almost pointing, Phil. It's like the stars are aligning. Is it like just keep going on the journey you're on?
Absolutely. And look, it is a hard sport and it takes so much sacrifice and dedication, I suppose. And I've been doing it internationally for 11 years in a row, and that takes its toll as well. But yeah, no, I'm definitely back enjoying it. And like it was special to be a part of that team after taking myself off the team this time last year for World Championships. And now that I was back on there and to come fourth in the Olympic final, like that's never going to be taken away from you. And who knows, we may get an upgrade in time, but we'll have to wait and see.
And you mentioned at the start too about the post-Olympic blues. And I've heard a lot of athletes talk about that. Is that very much a real thing that you have to deal with? Because you're coming off the high, I suppose, of looking forward to such a big event like the Olympics, and then you're kind of wrapped up in the whole bubble and excitement of it. And then you're stepping outside that, like post-Olympics, and it's almost back to reality in real life. Kind of how do you deal with that? Or
Exactly, and we did have so much, I suppose, mentoring and like support. We do have continuous support around that. And I remember it was obviously Tokyo was my first Olympics, so there was like all I could hear about is post-Olympic blues and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this can't happen. And I was so aware of it. And I suppose that was a very different experience, and it didn't feel like an Olympics compared to this one. So I didn't really suffer from it. And I was like powering straight on. But definitely this time it was a whole different experience. And I suppose you're chasing it for 3 years, and then you have the emotional come down, just like any other major championship. But now that it's done, like the Olympics is now finished, something that you have been chasing for 3 years, I suppose, that you've been building to all summer long. And now that it is done, it's just like anything that anybody is chasing, and that it's now finished and it's gone. So yeah, you definitely, I suppose, have that period where you do feel like sometimes you're like, how is the highest high also the biggest low? Do you know? And I suppose sometimes it's hard to understand, but you're bound to feel that way, and it's normal to feel that way. And yeah, it's just about overcoming it, and I suppose finding a new focus and channeling it that way.
what do the next couple of weeks look like for you? I presume a bit of downtime, well-deserved downtime.
Yeah, definitely some downtime. I will definitely be taking a few trips here and there just to relax. But yeah, there's no training for the next 4 to 5 weeks, which is something I'll definitely enjoy because you need that time off as well. Like I started back at the end of August last year, so it's been 12 months of training non-stop. So your body does need that time to relax, recover, and recuperate again. So you do have the energy to keep going forward.
You're going to plan a safari like Joan at the moment. You're going to head off to Africa and chase the wilds.
No, we won't be going that far now, but we'll see where it takes me. But there'll be some time spent in West Cork anyway for a while. Just as tropical as South Africa.
Couldn't agree anymore. No, super stuff, Phil. Premier, thanks for joining us, and congrats again on Paris. It's been brilliant to watch you the last couple of weeks.
Super, thanks a million.